Dundee has the fourth highest prevalence of drug use in Scotland, with an estimated 2,300 people between the ages of 15 to 64 using drugs. Across the city, hospital admissions related to the use of alcohol and drugs are higher than the rest of Scotland. Those living in the most deprived areas of Dundee are 5 times more likely to have experienced a drug-related hospital discharge or alcohol-related hospital stay than those in the least deprived areas. For the past 4 years, 75% of all drug deaths have occurred where the deceased was a resident in an SIMD 1 or 2 area.
I've worked with the Alcohol and Drugs project. They've devolved £80,000 of their money down to Dundee's communities to decide on what they would want to spend the money on in their own local community to support people in recovery from drugs and alcohol, but also support that prevention of people beginning to go down that road of drugs and alcohol.
So the funding going into these communities to support the right dialogue, the coming together of key people in those communities with people that are making decisions is important. So we are really keen to work at that level with people because that's where people's lives are.
So what we have in each of the 8 wards in Dundee's local community planning partnerships, and they've each got a subgroup who have this money, and you simply pitch up at the subgroup and you say, this is what I think I could do with this money in the community, and if you meet the criteria then the subgroup will agree to award you the money, and your duty is just to report back on what you're doing. So we're sitting in the Lochee ward today, and actually a lot of what the money's been spent on here is on family work.
So normally, like at the start of a term, we'll kind of sit down and they'll ask us what we want to do, like what we want for tea and things for the next few weeks, and then we'll all agree on kind of a schedule. So like every week it'll be a different activity, and then what we're having for tea and things. But that's all our ideas and stuff that they bring to life, basically.
You're always trying to fill a gap after school till bedtime. So we know once we get home, the kids are fed, they've played, they've had fun, we can go home, bath, jammies and winding down time. And as well, like a lot of our kids all go to school together, and because they come to the group now, they've got like such a good bond. So on a Thursday when we'd be picking them up, what would it be like? Family night, family night, family night. Kids are excited to come, and then we get to meet other parents and sit and speak to other parents as well.
It's targeted exactly how the money should be used, because we're telling you how it should be used, because we know what we need better than anyone else.
Yeah. We're the ones with the boots on the ground, so we kind of know what's happening. It's improving the quality of our lives.
Yeah.
Like it's just given us so much more to look forward to and get involved in.
I think the work that we're doing up in Douglas is brilliant, and there's examples there of where people have come along for a service but are now actually playing an integral part in their community.
In the past, it's always been a pyramid, and it's up at the top that's been making all the decisions, and then everybody just has to do what they want. But now it's much more democratic. Hayley got us all very early on when this group was started, got us around, and she came up with a blank bit of paper, and we had to come up with a programme of what we wanted to do each week.
They were all involved in what activities they want, so even what's on the menu.
Curling, badminton, boccia.
Boccia. I like my boccia. It's kind of like French bowls.
You've got ownership of what you're doing, and you feel much more involved, and you're at the heart of everything.
Graham's become a real kind of community connector, where he's sharing information with local people who are in the centre, but beyond that he's sharing information with the likes of myself.
If you've come in perhaps on your recovery journey, you're now in the room with somebody you would never have met otherwise in your community, and now we find that those people are not just going to the groups that are funded by the alcohol and drugs money, but they're part of the garden group, or they're part of a neighbourhood representative group, or they're part of their community regeneration forum. So there's been a real kind of knock-on effect that's kind of going beyond the money we're spending.
Certainly given me a lot of confidence, it's taken me down paths or roads that I never thought I would be going down.
I volunteer for it's like a Dundee-based magazine called the Recoverzine magazine, and I write poems. Dundee, Dundee, oh what a tale, the drugs, they're right off of the scale. When all of the addicts think they bounce in the well, when in fact they have to borrow and steal. So like for 2019 I come off everything, and to keep busy when I started getting a wee bit back to myself, I nipped into the hub, I realised there was a few groups going on, and I started to get into these groups, and I volunteered for like one of the hiking groups. Now I love nature, it's plain to see, and it loves me and helps to set my mind free. Because I was going to these groups, I got offered to sit on at the ADP meetings, and with me obviously sitting on these groups, and how beneficial they were to me, because for one, the boredom's a killer and I didn't want to be going back the way. By sitting on the ADP meetings, I felt like I was being listened to, I felt like I had a voice, I felt like people were paying attention. It kept me going for long enough, kind of like to break the mould of the past.
Our vision for Dundee is that we will be a caring city which has tackled the root causes of poverty and delivered fairness in outcomes, education and health. This vision requires a continued commitment to support citizens to be part of that.
This is £80,000 spread out across 8 wards. That's not a lot of money going in, but the bang for the buck we're getting off this money is really incredible.
What you're really after here is how do you support communities to thrive and to accept and be inclusive with people who are in their communities and to support them to do well. That's what we would all want, because when people do well, your community does well.
I'm full of potential and always will be, more than anyone else can see.
Find out more about community empowerment in Dundee. Contact 01382 435 808 or visit your local community centre today.